All right, so here we are. The NAR settlement has gone into effect. Real estate agents are scrambling. They're freaking out. They're making social media posts, defending themselves, trying to, defend their worth as an agent. And I want to give my 2 cents. I want to tell you what I think is going to happen in the industry. And I want to tell you, if I was an agent, if I was a buyer's agent, what I would be doing right now. Okay. So first of all, I want to start by saying that I don't believe that the majority of home buyers are going to dole out commission out of their own pocket. It's not going to happen. People are cheap. People don't have the money, right? Most buyers, when they buy a first home or they're buying a house, the majority are buying FHA, right? Some, still go conventional mortgage, put a typical down payment down, but nobody's going to want to pay an extra 5, 10, 15 grand for a buyer's agent to go show them some houses, to write up the contract, to do that thing, right? And a lot of agents aren't worth that money. And get mad at me if you want, but I know it's the fact, right? When I was in the mortgage business, we got a report every month that would show us what kind of activity realtors had. Every realtor in the Tampa market, what their office was doing, what they were doing individually, how many listings they had, how many, sales they had on a buyer's side, every metric that you can imagine. And most realtors, probably 50% of them, were doing like no business, zero business. They hung their license somewhere and just had it there, right? They weren't actively being agents. And then you have, 10%, 15% that do a couple deals a year, 3, 4 maybe, and that's it. So they don't have a ton of experience, right? They're just kind of around if, their friends or family want to do something, but they're not really hitting it. And then like everything, it's the 80-20 rule. You have 20% doing 80% of the business, okay? And those people are getting, for the most part, are getting the listings, right? They're the listing agents. And that's going to continue. They're going to get their listings. People are going to give them, say, okay, I'll give you 3% to sell my house, 2.5% or whatever. That will continue. But the vast majority of people aren't going to pay you to be a buyer's agent. So what's the scenario for you as a buyer's agent now? If you're not getting listings, it's going to be rough. Your broker is going to say, okay, go call over to the listing agent, see if you can talk them into, going to their seller and compensating you and do all that stuff. But I don't think a lot of sellers are going to be, they're going to say, oh, I'll pay an extra 3%. Now I don't have to. And I know you never had to, but it was always just assumed. Okay. But they're going to be jumping up and down to do it. They're going to be like, no, I will wait for somebody to approach you to buy my house, not another agent, and I won't have to pay that. And I just think that's the business now. I think that if you're a real estate agent, you're a listing agent, I think buyer's agents are going to dwindle. All right. I just don't think they're going to be able to survive. So what would I do if I was a buyer's agent in today's world where my business is evaporating before my eyes? I would really look at real estate wholesaling. And I'll tell you how I would look at it. If I was a buyer's agent, what I would do is I would sit down on the MLS or get some software, and there's plenty of them out there that will help you with this. But I would find all the investors buying in my market. All right, I'd identify who they are. And then I would reach out to them, or, a big portion of them, and offer to be their agent, their bird dog, if you want to call it that. Tell them that you will go out and find properties either off market or on market, but at a discount because the properties need work. And you will go out and identify those properties for them, meeting their criteria for X amount per property, for $10,000 a property. And just be their full-time agent, right? And you might have a dozen people that you do that for, a dozen investors, a dozen companies, however you want to classify it. But that's what you do now. You're still a buyer's agent, but you're a buyer's agent for investors, right? You learn what they're looking for, what areas they want properties in, and you just go out and spend your time finding them for a fee. And that's how you're going to survive. Either that or start getting listings. And that's it. And there'll be a lot of agents for a while that will be in denial. And it's like, oh, things will shake out, and people will come to accept that they're just going to have to pay us out of pocket and all that stuff. But it's not going to happen. People are cheap. Times are tough. People aren't just going to throw money out of their pocket like that. A few, maybe, right? People that have money, maybe they'll decide to do that. But I think if you're putting all your dreams and hopes and desires on a maybe, you're going to be sad that you did, right? It's a new world, okay? So anyway, that's my take on it. Things are different now. So you have to realign. You have to get a new mentality. You have to look at things a new way and figure out what you're doing. Either you're going to go out and bust your butt and figure out how to get listings, or you need to adapt and you need to figure out how you can take your license and the skill and the experience you have and turn this into some kind of positive, specialize with investors, or do something else, become a property manager, or just focus on rentals, or do something, but you have to pivot. All right. That's just my take on it. Talk to you soon.